Hello there, streamers. Mickey Marble here. Today I am teaching you how I put together my Pokemon Snap channel point rewards. So just so you can see a demonstration, basically what people can do while they're watching my stream is they can go into my channel points and then they can take a picture. And if they redeem that, then they can take a picture of my stream while it's happening. And obviously, I don't have it connected right now, but Pokemon Snap is usually here. So you can also snap along with me in the chat. So I put this channel point reward together by combining a whole bunch of things that I've learned both from other streamers and also just picking up on things myself. So this channel point reward doesn't exist in a video yet, and I had some folks asking me how I did it, so I wanted to help them out with that. So really kind of the five things that we're going to be talking about in this video. We're going to talk about the freeze frame plugin, which I first heard about from Nutty, who has a whole YouTube video on it, and we're going to touch base on that. We're going to talk about scene nesting, which is just how I made the effect and how I chose to kind of house that effect. We're going to briefly talk about Canva, which is just how I made that Polaroid filter. We're going to talk about trigger fire, which is how I make this effect talk to my channel points. And then we're also going to talk about the WebSocket plugin, which is just how I get these channel points, not only to talk to my stream, but also to talk to my OBS software. One of the things that you should know is that because we're using plugins, we have to use OBS Studio for this. In both of the videos, they talk a little bit more about it, but just basically Streamlabs OBS doesn't really let you use plugins. And for some effects, there's something similar, but specifically for this, it's kind of OBS Studio or no, which I know kind of sucks. But we're going to dive in. So the first thing to know about is this freeze frame plugin, which again, all that does is that allows things to freeze just like that. I'm frozen up there while I am moving down here. And it would also freeze the game as well. Even if the game keeps moving, it's just going to freeze everything happening on this scene in that moment. Again, the first person that I heard talk about this was Nutty. I will be sure to link Nutty's video in the description because it's just a lot more detailed about how you can use this freeze frame filter. We're just going to kind of dive into it. So I'm going to post the link to the freeze frame in the description below. It has like the link as far as where to get it, and you're just going to download it and then install it. And yeah, really you can tell, right? This just freeze frames any source within seconds. And then after you have that downloaded, the only thing that changes in your OBS is if you go to a filter on any source. And for me, I do that by hitting right click because I'm on a PC. So I just right click and then I do filters. And this is all it is. If I go to my plus sign, now I can add a freeze filter to any source. And so all that does, right, is if it's turned on, then it freezes. If the filter is not on, it doesn't do anything because that's all the filter is doing is it's freezing me in position. That's all it does. Now I have it set. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this, right? You could just have the filter turn on, but what I decided, because I wanted to do the scene nesting technique or the scene in a scene technique, was basically every single time that this scene is enabled, we just go ahead and enable the freeze. And every single time that the scene is disabled, we disable the freeze. Basically, right, like if I had this set to do nothing, it would mean that it would just always be frozen and it would never be unfrozen. So that's just why I have it set up this way. If this scene is turned on, then the freeze is on. If the scene is turned off, then the freeze is off. I hope all of that makes sense. Okay, cool. So now we are moving on to the next step. So I knew that I needed to have that freeze frame to get like the photo, like you're taking a picture during that moment. Now, the next thing that I thought about was how I was going to build this reward just like in my software. So there are a few ways that you could choose to build it. This is just the way that I picked. I decided to use the scene in a scene technique so that I could have all of these different elements. And I thought about the way that trigger fire works, which we'll talk about trigger fire later, but I thought about how that worked. And I thought about just like my own skills. And what I realized was that I wanted everything to be in one place. And then with one button, it would all come up. And so there are a lot of reasons why scene nesting or why scene in a scene is just like a really good idea. Like it's always so hard for me to talk about, but again, Nutty has come up with a video for this. He will explain it to you. He will explain why you should be doing it for more things than you are. Just know that for me, I do a lot of broadcast management. I do a lot of shows for other people where I'm running streams for them. And if I didn't do scene in a scene, I would never get shows done. Just no. And those are for pretty massive builds, but still, I think it's a very useful thing to just have on your radar and to know that you can put scenes as a source in other scenes. And that's really what that is right there. This is just a scene that is a source in another scene. And again, this is moving because I don't have the freeze filter enabled. Okay, but we are going to go back for now, and we're just going to look at the different elements in this scene that we then nest into my gaming scene. So the first thing is that we have it's pretty simple, right? We don't need this game capture. Get out of here. You're not real. We have my capture card, the Elgato. So that's the game. We have the webcam, right? That's just me right there. We have this Polaroid image that I designed in Canva. I'll show you that here in a second. And then we have the camera sound effect, which just that's all that does. It makes a little camera sound effect every time it's used. Let's see, what else do you need to know about this scene? Obviously, this is transparent behind it. It's really only this image. The other thing to know one question I know people tend to ask is how do you get things to be diagonal like this? So just so you know, for my webcam, I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to transform, edit transform, and this rotation, I'm at -7, so I'll just remember that is how I do that. So you can see I'm going like up with it and it is also going up. So we'll just keep it at -7. Really, like I just said it and then I just found it. Like I was like, yeah, like you can tell it's not exactly right. But I was like, -7 is good enough. Okay. All right. So those are really the different elements in the scene. And then all I did was I went to my gaming scene. I went to my plus. I went to the scene. And then I added the camera channel points reward scene as a source in this scene. And I kind of positioned it where I wanted it to go. Okay, let's turn on this freeze for a moment and then let's just hide this. Let's see, will this? Yeah, okay, that'll work. Rad. So that's kind of a little bit about scene nesting, and it's especially going to come into play as we're talking about the next things. But first, I want to show you Canva, which is just the snap frame. Look, y'all, do you see this? This is all this is. This is not revolutionary graphic design work. I do pay for Canva Pro just because I use it so much and I love Canva so much. If you don't use Canva, obviously you can use really any graphic design software for this. You can use Photoshop, you could use GIMP, all of it. I just personally really love Canva because honestly, by the time my computer opens Photoshop, I can have already made it in Canva. People are like, you're so fast. I'm like, it's because of Canva. That's why. So all I did for this, you can tell I have two different Polaroids. I went to Elements and I typed in Polaroid. Wow. And then I found a Polaroid that I liked. The thing that was important for me with my specific setup, you can tell my colors are red and white. So I specifically wanted one that I could change to be kind of this tan color, just so it could separate from my background. At first I had them as white and I was like, you can't see it. You can't tell what it is. And then I put two on top. And then I just kind of like adjusted them so it would look kind of like a nice little pile of Polaroids over there. And I just put two of them. And then I just put this text on top, which you just go to like text, and then you just add some text. And I just typed in photo by chat because I just thought that was really lovely. And plus, I tried to think about if there was a way to specifically have the name of the person who had redeemed the channel point reward. But then my brain started to do that thing where I worried if I was overcomplicating it. So I was like, you know what? Photo by chat is just fine. It's good enough. I found a font that I liked just fine. And then I went up here and I downloaded it as a PNG with a transparent background so that all of this was green. And then I downloaded it. Now, transparent background is only available for those that pay for Canva, but what you could do instead is you could just download it with the green, and then you could use a chroma key filter on the green so that it's just transparent back there. Ha ha, we're getting by with what we have, including free Canva. So that's how I made the Polaroid that comes up here. And even as far as like the camera sound effect, right? That was just a free, copyright free camera sound effect that I found online that I had the permission to use. Super easy. Everything was made for free. All right. So now that we've talked about Canva, we're going to move on. Like, we've built this thing. We've built it. We've built this whole thing. It looks great. We're so ready. So now we just have to figure out how can we make it so that people can use this with channel points to redeem it in chat. So for that, we are going to use Triggerfire. Credit where credit is due. I first heard about Triggerfire from Behaving Beardly. He has a whole video about Triggerfire. I will be sure to link to his video in the chat. His video is going to be a lot more detailed than this one, but we're just going to give you a brief rundown. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to log in with Twitch. Wonderful. I'm connected and it knows who I am. So just to give you like a brief kind of image, a brief idea of what this can do. Basically, Triggerfire, you can set it so that if somebody posts in chat, or if somebody uses channel points, then they can redeem these things that you've set up to trigger, right? I mean, that's basically it. So let's say you wanted to use this gift one. I don't even remember what this is. Let's find out. Why aren't you working? Of course. Of course. Oh, is it because I don't have it set to allow the channel point? I bet it is. Yeah, it's not set to allow the command. Wonderful. So that's fine. So now, oh wait, did we save? Make sure you save. That's the thing with this, is that you always have to make sure that you save. Gosh darn. All right, well, we'll just show you another way. So we're gonna like redeem the Zoom cam. And then it pops up with that, right? It just pops up with a video that I have. Here, I'll show you. It pops up with this video that I created and then saved and then put here in Triggerfire. And to just kind of show you around while we're here on this video trigger, so you can tell I just kind of named it something. You go plus to create something new, and you also want to make sure that you connect it to stream elements. So you can tell this is an overlay URL. So all you would have to do, I'm not going to demonstrate it, but all you would have to do is go to stream elements, create a new overlay scene in your stream elements, and then post this overlay URL into that. And that is what I have right here. I just have it as a browser source. It has the stream elements link, and I've set it to the size of my scene, which is 1920 by 1080. So you do have to connect. You do have to connect your Triggerfire to your stream elements with the browser source link. But then after that, to add anything, you're just going to go to this plus sign. So we're going to act like we're in Zoom. You can tell you can either set it to do a command name in the chat, or you can set it to do it with the channel points. And so you can tell this is exact. It does have to be exact, including capitalization, but that is exactly what it is called, which is why you are able to use it and redeem it. And before, I didn't have it to allow the command. So if somebody types in !Zoom, you don't just get a free Zoom cam. And that was why I had it set up that way. The only downside is now it's not working for this demonstration, but that's okay. So that's how I do videos. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get Triggerfire to talk to my OBS. So this is kind of like a very specific case. So we're going to OBS. And this is why we need the WebSocket, because basically the WebSocket is going to allow Triggerfire to be able to talk to my OBS. So for example, we have OBS, we have this address, and now I'm going to go in here to, to my tools. I have a lot going on. To my tools, we have the WebSocket server settings, enable WebSocket server, and look, it was like already set this way. Like the moment that I downloaded it, it was just set up right. So I pass that on to you in case that works for you as well. And then I just hit connect, just so I know that it could talk to each other. Then after that, I went ahead and hit the plus sign and I created a new OBS trigger. So like here, we'll go ahead and like act like we're doing that. See, it'll just do a new OBS trigger. And so I went ahead and called the command name photo. I don't really want people to be able to use this, but it's nice to have it here just so I can remember what it is as well. I want everyone to be able to use this, but I could also set it so that only the broadcaster could use it, only subscribers could use it, but it's a party. I want everyone to be able to take these photos. No cooldown, because I want us to be able to get wild. There's not a cooldown in Pokemon Snap. So, and then, the reward name, you can tell, is take a picture. So that is also what I've called it here. And I went ahead and allowed the command, actually, I guess, for this one. We should not do that as we are filming this video. I'm just going to save that really fast and get back in it. And then this is really where we need to be, is in the manage action. So what type is this? Now, you might be like, this is a scene, but no, this is a source. Channel points is actually a source in this scene. So this is a source. We want to really just hold it there and toggle it. And we're going to hold it and toggle it for 5 seconds. And that's right. So like if we redeem it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. Wow, it's amazing. So that is why it is doing that nice little 5-second duration. It's fast, but not too fast. I only have it set on this gaming scene, and we have it set for the source name. And we want this to be exact. You can tell it's case sensitive, so camera channel points. Now, you can tell, like, I could set up these individually for every single scene, but I thought about doing that and I got stressed out. Mind you, the first time that I tested this, I always encourage my chat to try to break my stuff and try to help me learn about things. So basically, I had someone redeem Zoom Cam, which takes them to another scene, but then they wanted to take a photo, and I was like, oh, it's not gonna work. You did it. You broke it. So just know that's the only downside, is like you really have to know what your setup is going to be. Wonderful. But yeah, that's all I did, was I made sure that the source was connected. And then I previewed it and I checked it out. So I'm going to hit this preview over here, and it works. So I know that it's working when I hit that preview. Set to toggle. Scene is just the name of the scene that this needs to happen on, and the source name is camera-channel points, which is just what I happened to call it, and holding for 5 seconds. So everybody, this is how I did this. What are the pros and cons of me doing it this way? Well, first of all, I just told you, right? Chat immediately found a way to break it by trying to take me to another scene to take a photo, and I was like, well, chat, you got me. You caught me in the act. Another thing to note is that I use Triggerfire to do this. If you watch this freeze filter video that Nutty put together, Nutty talks about another way to do this. But for his technique, it's basically like another software that has to run on your computer. Triggerfire like lives on the internet, which is why I prefer to use that. I already have like 5 things running when I stream, and I'm just very worried. It's getting out of control. So I typically tend to try to alleviate whatever I can from my computer, because my computer is better than it was, but it is still not great. Yeah, but otherwise you have everything you need to know for to create this channel point reward yourself. And I hope you do create this channel point reward yourself, because I'm very proud of it and I think it's very silly, a lot of fun, and perfect for Pokemon Snap. 2 things as a friendly reminder. First, if you found this video helpful, please do like and subscribe to this channel. It will really help me out. And the second thing is a stream. Feel free to join me on stream or follow my channel over on Twitch. I am twitch.tv/Mikki Marvel. Otherwise, feel free to let me know if you have any questions or if you need anything else from me, but I'll see you next time.